buildings. Mzwandile, first question is, will the president really outline all the regulations tonight? Sometimes we've seen that he gives the broad strokes and then the ministers look at the minutiae of the regulations. What are we expecting?
Good afternoon, good evening, Francis. It's exactly that we expect from the president tonight. Perhaps the best I think he will tell us in terms of detail is when is the country moving to level 3. Remember, in his last address, he did indicate that by the end of May, the whole of the country will move to level 3. Perhaps it's the actual date that he will be able to address us on tonight, and other areas that may have been discussed. But insofar as the detail of what is happening, that is the job that will still be done by the ministers in terms of the regulations, why there was a thinking in a particular way on a certain issue. Remember, given the risk-adjusted strategy that we know about, there are certain things that we expect that they will happen. But these are not just cast in stone, so they are all a function of discussion. We know that in the past week, the president has been heavily involved, as we have correctly said in your intro there, that he's been consulting a number of stakeholders. So this address will also be a reflection of those contributions from those various sectors. But I then assume that during the week going forward, the ministers then will come forward and give us those details insofar as what exactly will be happening, Francis.
Mzwandile, it's being widely reported that the Minister Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma has tabled guidelines for this move to level 3, opening up many sectors of the economy, of course avoiding big gatherings, opening up alcohol sales, but not cigarette sales. So I think you've seen that document as well, but of course this is not verified. Maybe it was a plan. We don't know what the National Command Council has decided on in all of its finality, do we?
Absolutely, Francis. What we know is that before a decision is reached, there's a number of discussions or even debates in certain sectors that everyone has. When you talk about the issue of tobacco sales, in terms of the risk-adjusted strategy that we know about, we expect tobacco products to be on sale. But we know the kind of debate it has raised in the past. And we know that it has really generated a lot of, should I say, controversy. So that is why perhaps it may still not form part of the things or of the items that will be permitted. But insofar as alcohol is concerned, we expect that perhaps the limited or the restricted sale may be affected. So it's quite a number of things that are really happening. As I'm saying, it will be very interesting to hear what the president will say. I mean, in his address last week, Francis, he even said there are items that will be permitted that were not supposed to be permitted under level 4. The sale of cars, for example, so they were not permitted under level 4, but after negotiations and consultations, they took a decision to permit those. So e-commerce. So all those issues really are informed by a broad range of consultation and discussion. And that is the thrust of what the president will be telling us today.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we've seen changes even in the middle of level 4. E-commerce was opened up. There was a lot of concern that was a safe way for retail to operate. The position of Minister Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma has been debated heavily. Like you said, consternation, controversy around the cigarette ban. The ANC has come to her defense. I think the presidency has as well. I guess we can say that a strong message coming through is that these decisions are taken by a collective, Mzwandile.
Absolutely. Remember, this is a National Command Council. It comprises of a number of ministers who sit and debate the issues. As per the regulations and as per the Act, the Minister of Cogta, who happens to be a Minister Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, is the one who gazettes this. So some of her perhaps things that I would think people would accuse her of are not necessarily of her own making, but they are part of a collective decision. I mean, Francis, can you imagine a minister gazetting something that the president is opposed to? Remember, the president still has the final word. So sometimes the reporting would portray a particular message, but I think we have to try and stick to facts insofar as what exactly happens. I think that's why the ANC decided to say singling out Minister Dlamini Zuma perhaps is wrong, because she is part of the collective. So everything that she does, so the president will definitely approve it, because if the president is opposed to it, that will not pass. And of course, if the collective is against it, it will not pass.
All right, thank you very much. And of course, we'll check in with you a bit later, Mzwandile Mbeje, at the Union Buildings tonight. And while the country waits for the president's address tonight, KwaZulu-Natal Premier Cyril